And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means? It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you. We got a lot of toy news to get through this week. I got 2 pages of notes to talk about. We even got a brand new little bit of conspiracy action, so stay tuned for Jess and Ventura and the boys on the couch, Todd and Mark, as we got a lot of McFarlane stuff to talk about as well. There's just a lot going on as we're gearing up for, of course, Christmas next week. Have to imagine next week's toy news a little bit slower, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But of course, before we get into all the toy news, let's dive into some housekeeping. This week's episode, once again, brought to you by Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. I was actually at their warehouse this week, and I picked up a few things you're going to see in weekly purchases tomorrow, so stay tuned to that. But got to get a deal out there, 15% off all in-stock items. Got to get a deal, as I did say there. But this week, a very, very busy week, as we know. I guess we should knock out the Patreon. Of course, Patreon month of December, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Big Rubber Guys is the giveaway this month. Sign up for the Patreon. Of course, you get early access to all the videos from both of my YouTube channels. Tons and tons of stuff going on Patreon every single day. I do appreciate all the supporters out there. This is the time to be a Patreon member for sure. You can even sign up for a year at a discount. All kinds of stuff. Can even be a free member if you'd like to. But all kinds of best of year-end videos. Be prepared. Brace yourself, because the next couple of months, or I guess I should say probably the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll say, we got about 50 more best of videos to come from 2024 as we're going to celebrate everything that was unboxed on this channel. We're going to find out what was the best, and we're definitely going to find out what the worst was as well. Already started some of those videos, so hopefully you're enjoying those so far. And speaking of videos, we got a big video, of course, that went up on the channel this week. Actually, 2 installments. It was the long-awaited, highly anticipated by many. It was my toy collection tour, action figure collection tour, house tour, whatever you want to call it. Very fun to do that one there, of course. Matt Cardona, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast this week, released, strangely enough, the same day I released mine, they released their version of it. And crazy to me how many people said, man, I love your collection. I saw it on the Major Pod. What about my channel? What about my video? Watch it over here. But watch both of them. I'd try to get the yin and yang if I was you. Obviously, I couldn't slowly go through everything. I know a lot of people were a little bit dizzy by the Matt Cardona video, but Matt couldn't go figure by figure. It'd be a 5-hour video, and I've talked about it on the channel before. I'll probably do separate videos maybe throughout 2025. Maybe we'll do a video of just my elites, and we'll go a little bit slower through them. So we'll see what comes, but I hope you guys enjoy the collection tour. Hopefully you guys check it out. And there is a part 2 with more collection stuff in there, as well as a little bit of a how-to Q&A, because the same questions always come up. I had those ready to go, answered a lot of those questions in that video. So check out part 1, check out part 2, and then check out the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast version of my collection tour. Definitely a labor of love. Very positive comments throughout. I mean, you're always going to have some that say, Kyle, hopefully one day finds a girlfriend, and you see that kind of stuff. You also see that Kyle has mental illness and fun stuff like that. That's always interesting, but a very positive response to the collection tour. So I appreciate everybody that took their time to check all that out and watch those videos. A lot of fun doing them, of course, as you guys know, and hopefully maybe the collection inspired you a little bit out there. So check it out if you have not yet, and many more videos to come once again in the future there. So wanted to call out that collection tour there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. A lot of other stuff going on the channel with the best ofs as we close out the year as well as the Patreon stuff. And a lot more fun stuff to come in 2025. Maybe some surprises. You never know what I might be pulling out of a hat, and it could be a rabbit for all you know. But let's dive into some stuff. Let's dive into it. I should mention there will be a giveaway very soon. You guys know I have been saving all of my twist ties for 2024. I've saved every single twist tie from all the action figure lines, pretty much mostly you, Todd McFarlane. But I have them all in this container here. Year's not up, so we're going to keep adding to it, but I'm going to do a guess the weight of the twist ties, and I'm going to give away a fabulous prize. So you want to subscribe to my social media, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and Instagram, and maybe my TikTok too while you're at it, as you'll be able to enter that giveaway. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? But let's dive into the toy news. We got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about here today. Let's start it off, though, with AEW. AEW's been pretty quiet lately from the Jazzwares team, but this week they did put out some Christmas photography there. 'Tis the season, of course, and we saw the upcoming Sting figure, regular and Chase. Man, oh man, get those to me right now. I want old school Sting. I want Surfer Sting in my collection, but we did get a little peek under the tent of what awaits us in 2025. I will also be doing a top 10 AEW countdown on this very channel, so stay tuned to that in the near future. We did see this week from Mattel Creations, looked like CM Punk got delayed. Sounds like February now, but I think originally it was supposed to be around February, so I don't know if it really is a delay, but apparently it is a delay, because you have to approve it. If you don't approve the delay, you will get your money back. So go over to Mattel Creations if you have not, and do what you want if you want that CM Punk figure still. I know a lot of people are saying, how is this delayed? What is taking it so long? I don't know. I don't work for Mattel, but ask Mattel. Maybe they'll tell you. But that is delayed, so if you want it, go to thecreations.com. And then, of course, last weekend, Saturday night's main event came back, and for me, you know, it's on the couch boys there, and probably many of you, very excited for the return of Jesse Ventura. Man, oh man, Jesse hasn't paid attention to wrestling in decades, really. He really hasn't. Come on, guys. But man, he just stepped in like, it just felt so like an old pair of shoes, very familiar, and he might have not known everything, but some of his commentary and him, you know, Cody Rhodes, what's he doing with that chair? It just felt like old school Hulk Hogan stuff. I loved having Jesse Ventura on commentary. Maybe it's not for everybody, but man, it added a lot to the presentation for me, and maybe it's the nostalgic portion of it. Maybe it's the conspiracy portion of it. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was so good to hear him, and I'm happy to hear that he's going to be back for all these Saturday night main events. It just, I don't know, for me and a kid growing up in the 80s, there's just something about Jesse's voice, which is absolutely awesome. Great to see him on the call there. But speaking of Jesse Ventura, I think it's time. We got another conspiracy.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
And I don't know, Todd McFarlane on the couch, do I open up this rabbit hole again? People always come after me after these conspiracies because it's, of course, Powertown conspiracy. Todd, I'll let it up to you. Do I do it or not? All right.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. No. We'll do it live!
Let's do it. Let's dive into it. We got another Powertown conspiracy, and I always say this, and I told it to Powertown when I met them at PowerCon about a year and a half ago, whatever it was. I'm rooting for them. I want Powertown to succeed. I want them to be my modern-day Jakks Classic superstars. However, we've had so many stumbles across the way, and we got another stumble going on right now, and it has flown under the radar, which honestly, if I'm the only one talking about it, that's not a good thing. That means people aren't paying attention to Powertown. Now, they reopened their orders, like back in early November. They said, all the orders are reopened for everybody to get. If you missed you out on the Remcos, TNA Series 1, Ultras Series 2, you got your last chance. You better get your order in by November 24th or forever hold your peace. Now, a lot of us, myself very included on that, said, hey, wait a minute. You said that was my last chance back in February and in April, and I gave you my money. Where have the updates been in the meantime? No updates. You took my money. Interest-free loans, going all that. And then, of course, there was the huge thing where they gave us free figures, which, a heck of a gesture. I'm never going to say it's a bad gesture. However, it just basically makes you whole from the interest they gained on your figures, and it also helped them clean up the warehouse of some leftover figures, some figures that they couldn't really sell. Let's be honest there. You got to look through everything. Got to go through it. You got to follow the money like a young Jesse Ventura. That's one thing I learned from him way back when. He said, Kyle, follow the money. Heck, he even autographed. Where is that? Where is that? I got it right here. Let me see if I can get this here. You guys saw this. Jesse said, Kyle, this is what I want you to do. He said, to Kyle, follow the money. And I've been following it ever since, so shout out to Jesse Ventura right there. But I followed the money, so I understand all that. But anyways, it is what it is. They all went up for pre-order. You best be getting your orders in by November 24th or ever forever hold your peace. You're going to miss out. Well, that was another threat. So I got threatened. I better get those Remcos in February 2024 or else I'm going to miss out. Well, pies in my face, whatever you want to call it, because they went back open. Well, it is what it is. I've moved on. But of course, the pre-order back open through November 24th. Guess what? You got tricked into ordering and said, oh, I better get these. Well, guess what? You go to Powertown's website right now. Pre-orders are all still open. Every single one of those. Here we are a month later after they said pre-order is supposed to be done. They're closed forever. They're all back open, or they're all open. They never went down. Even showing November 24th. There's been no updates. There's been no pictures. We had a little bit of Remco pictures, I think, when they opened everything back out to kind of tease everybody to order again. But it's been radio silence, no pun intended, ever since that's happened. So we're sitting here waiting what's going on. Where is the updates? And then once again, good friend of the channel, Matt Cardona. Salt of the earth, Matt Cardona. Of course, check out the videos with him. He did show in the Major Pod group pictures of him and Brian's 2-pack. Obviously, this isn't his. This is a picture from the factory somewhere. But why is this coming from Matt and not from Powertown? You lose a customer a loaf at a time. You get them back a slice at a time. Powertown's digging themselves a hole. That's what they're doing. If the hole's not already dug at this point, because they should be promoting this stuff. They should be coming saying, hey, TNA Series 1, it's on the way. Here's Jordan Grace's hair. Look at the extra detail. They should be doing that all the time, but they take our money and then it's silence. So very strange. Do they not check their website ever? Did they set it and forget it? You can still order all this stuff. Where's it going? It does still show on the website. January 2025, Remcos will be in our hand. They will be shipped to us. That's less than a month away. It's less than a month away. Does anybody think we'll see those Remcos in January? I hope they prove me wrong, but I don't think there's any way we're seeing these Remcos in our hands in January. I'm hoping that's the case, but we'll see what happens. Now, of course, what happens after January? Chinese New Year. Everything shuts down for a while. So I don't know. And I said it at the beginning. I wouldn't hold my breath about some of these dates. I hope they prove me wrong. I'll be the first one to champion them on. I know the figures are going to be fun. They're going to be great. I just want them there. I just hope everything works out the way it's supposed to for us, the consumer that's putting our hard-earned money down on these things. But man, oh man, no updates, no nothing. And now the pre-order is still live a month later when they were told you better order or else. Well, sounds like we were hoodwinked. We were hoodwinked. We were tricked once again. And you know what the Saved by the Bell kids would say about that?
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy.
And once again, those Saved by the Bell kids, exactly right. Exactly right. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. But moving on to some maybe happier stuff here. Of course, back to Saturday night's main event, we saw one Birdman Coco Beware. We saw a Reba Tito Santana hanging out in the audience. We also saw merchandise for them on WWE Shop, which means only one thing. I know if Jesse was here, he'd say it may be a conspiracy, but I don't think there's a conspiracy here. I think they've signed Legends deals. I think we'll see new Tito Santanas. I think we'll see some new, of course, Coco Beware figures. Now, we do know Mitch has Coco Beware around the corner, but I have to imagine we'll get an Elite Coco. A lot of different ones we could get. Same thing with Tito Santana. Maybe a Peg Warmer Hall of Famer, of course, at one time. But maybe the time is now for Tito. It's definitely time for Strike Force. It's time for, of course, his time as El Matador. I would love to see both of those in the future. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But I would look to seeing those guys get some figures maybe at the end of next year. So more to come as we find out about it, I guess. And speaking of Tito Santana, you can't speak of Tito without his tag team partner. And I just saw a Vault YouTube video from the WWE channel. A lot of cool deep cut cassettes going out there onto YouTube. It was something like Heat, Summer Heat, Heat Wave, whatever. And the first match was Tito Santana versus Rick Martel, a hot blood feud that never developed like I thought it would. When they broke up, I thought it would be this huge feud. Never really happened. Kind of like Marty Jannetty and Shawn. They had some matches, but for other reasons, didn't go as deep. I kind of felt the same way about Strike Force. But why am I bringing up Strike Force? Why am I bringing up one Rick the Model Martel? Well, grapplers and gimmicks have done the unthinkable. They found Rick Martel somewhere in the wilds of Canada. What? Oh, Todd McFarlane said, was it Pickering? Oh, you guys real ones know about Pickering, Canada. If you watch this channel, you know about Pickering. No, I believe it was not in Pickering. I think it was Quebec. And, of course, Todd McFarlane, expert of Canada. Of course, he might live in Arizona right now, but Canadian expert Todd McFarlane. For anything, any questions I have, I always go to him. And I always say, Todd, what do you think about this? And he helps me with a lot of math conversion and mileage and stuff. When, like, we ride in the car, I'm like, how many miles to kilometers is this? And he helps me out with it all the time. So, shout out to Todd McFarlane, good friend of the channel. But Rick Martel is coming with a figure with grapplers and gimmicks, which is pretty awesome. We haven't had Rick Martel figures forever. That legend way back when, extremely pricey. Have to imagine Rick Martel, somebody finally got to him where he finally came to his senses. Yeah, I don't want to do conventions. I don't want to do this stuff, and that's great. But wouldn't you like free money in the mailbox? And I think that's where we're headed to. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him maybe a little bit down the line sign a Legends deal of some kind as well. So going to be really cool. It looks like we're going to get a Strike Force Rick Martel. It was funny reading some of the comments. Where's his sweater? Where's Arrogance? Man, you only know him as the model. You don't remember AWA champion Rick Martel. You don't remember Strike Force. You don't remember the Can-Am connection. What are we doing? What are we doing here? But Rick Martel going to be welcome in the collection once again. It'll be interesting how it compares to the Hasbro, which I would say that Hasbro Rick Martel a sleeper figure in the Hasbro line for sure. So we got that coming. And speaking of retros, Rush Collectibles, straight out of Pickering, Canada, right? Kinda. We unboxed Chris Van Vliet figure on the channel this week from Rush Collectibles, but they got Spellbinder around the corner, so if you want to do some magic tricks, some sleight of hand, some of that kind of stuff, one of these days, I'll do some magic tricks on the channel. You guys will love it. Trust me. Trust me. We got Spellbinder coming from Rush Collectibles, so check that out if that is your thing. Speaking of third party, too, once again, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Big Rubber Guys, limited to 1,000. Speak now or forever hold your peace. They're coming very soon. You can order those right now. The window is closing right now, so if you want them, better grab them. Now, you'll see some Big Rubber Guys in weekly purchases, and hopefully the unboxings here the next week or so. Of course, as usual, Patreon members get everything earlier. You guys get like 10 videos a day on Patreon, so shout out to the Patreon members. More on those very, very soon. But they did drop a little announcement this week. There's that WrestleCon, or whatever you want to call it. It's in Indianapolis. I believe it is in January, if I'm not mistaken, but they are going to have, I believe, a 1/100 Dusty Rhodes exclusive, basically Dusty Rhodes with yellow boots. So a very, very small tweak. Pretty smart to only do 100 of these. I'm picking it up. I'm all in on the line. You guys know that. But a pretty deep cut for a lot of people. But if you're after a yellow boots Dusty, stay tuned for that. I'm sure if they have any extra after the con, they will sell them online. So there's going to be your chance. And we're not done, once again, with Big Rubber Guy style figures. Latoony getting in the game this week. They did make an announcement last week. They are releasing 2 versions of Demolition Axe. And one of them is basically the LJN re-release. The other one has different face paint, so at least it's different. But I don't know. Is anybody clamoring for Axe? We got, of course, the Big Rubber Guys ones not too long ago. It'll be interesting to see how that one does. Of course, they've had a lot of figure announcements, too. And I will say, tomorrow in weekly purchases, you'll see a little Latoony. So we'll dive into that on the channel and find out what all the fuss is about, as we usually do. But we got Axe Time 2, which makes my head scratch just a little bit, especially without any smash. But then we also saw Antonio Inoki, which is very cool. I would love to get that version of Antonio Inoki. I like the idea of it, but it looks like it's one of those, are they Safubi? What are they called? No, Chara Pro. The Chara Pro figures, basically upsized. So I see what he did. I don't know. I don't know how that'll resonate into sales, and I'm not sure the legalities and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV from time to time. Todd, you probably got a lot more dealings with lawyers than I do, I'm sure.
Hi, I'm attorney at law, Zach Wild, and I'm here to fight for you.
I've gotten threatened to sue. I get threatened to be sued. Kyle, I'm going to sue you. Yeah, okay, sue me. So sue me. I've had it a few times. It's funny in the business world. People want to throw around lawsuits all the time, but 99.9% of the time, it's like, sue me. Bring it on. No, but it's not going to stand up. That's what I always say. So fun times whenever lawyers get involved. And in a different world, I think I would have made a good lawyer. I think I could have been up for the task. I should have done that. What was I thinking? I should have been a lawyer. But Latoony coming hard. Coming hard. More on that tomorrow in weekly purchases. Now, another thing this came out this week, and we've seen some of these figures floating out there at Target and Walmart over the last couple of months, but it looks like we have Netflix WWE Mattel shippers going in, and it looks like they're going in the electronics section, which is interesting. But it looks to be a lot of Netflix special carding. We've seen the 2-packs before. These ones on special single carding, and it looks to be a lot of the main event 2-packs characters put into a single card. So very, very smart, very Jakks of Mattel. Jakks used to do that kind of stuff all the time. Now Mattel getting in the game. But hey, if you want Liv Morgan, you got to have the regular one. You got to have the Netflix card one. You got to have a loose one. It's a whole rigmarole. We know how that goes. But look for those the next couple of weeks. Now, that's one thing secret in the industry here. I'm not telling you anything that's not out there. Believe me, the day after Christmas, they're changing things to New Year's. They probably already changed things to New Year's in most stores. But new things come out. A lot of these shippers, a lot of this stuff comes out of the back room because Christmas stuff is gone. They clearance it. They got to fill it with other stuff. They got stuff to get out of there. You're also going to see some pretty good clearance after Christmas. So wouldn't be a shock to see some of these Walmarts dive a bunch of stuff into deep clearance. So be on the lookout, you bargain hunters there. But also be on the lookout for that Netflix shipper, I guess is what we'll say there. But that kind of concludes wrestling. But like I said, we got a whole nother page of stuff. And you know what Jerry Reed always says?
We've got a long way to go and a short time to
And Jerry Reed, he always talks about the Super 7 Thundercats Ultimate Cat Slayer. That's what Jerry Reed's always singing about. He's singing about that Cat Slayer. It's just sad Jerry died many years ago and didn't get to see this thing come to fruition. But I heard, somebody fact check it, Mark Summers, feel free, you do a pretty good job. He was on his deathbed and he told his family, do you have any last words, Jerry? Anything on your legacy? And he said, tell them to get that Cat Slayer out. Well, Super 7, unfortunately, looks like it's a little bit delayed, but hopefully, fingers crossed, only a month. It looks like it is coming in January 2025. That's future Kyle problems there, because you saw my collector's room. Where's the Cat Slayer going? Better stay tuned for that in the future. But we did see that it looks like the Cat Slayer coming in January. They asked everybody, update your address. It's coming. Beware, it's coming. So we'll see that Cat Slayer hopefully next year. And we'll find a place for it, and we'll do a review of it on the channel as well. So stay tuned next year. Also saw this week a little business news here, because we're basically like CNBC, MSNBC, Fox Business, whatever you want to call it. We're basically a business channel, really, at the end of the day. Song and Dance Man, James Brown, business channel, that's what we are. But this week, announcements, it sounds like all the big lots are closing. A lot of them have been closing. My Big Lots just closed, and you guys probably saw it. It's been a while since I was there, but every time I went in, I said, here is 5 minutes of my life I'll never get back, and I'll be on my deathbed one day and saying, if I just wouldn't have went to Big Lots that one day, I could have been here. I could have been chewing a pack of gum or something. I don't know what I'd be doing, but man, oh man, those Big Lots, finally all going out of business. So shout out, pour one out to Big Lots. Big Lots hasn't had anything really good, at least in my area, for a couple of years. I remember the craze of the old Legends, and I guess I got to give Big Lots a shout out a little bit, because I wouldn't be collecting elites if I didn't find the Ultimate Warrior and some of those early Legend elites on deep clearance there, which I said, okay, I can't turn this down. And then it spiraled into all this, and the collection tour madness is what it did. So Big Lots owes a little bit of that there, but I'm hopeful that my Big Lots turns into an Ollie's, because I get the comments from you guys. I look at them, Kyle, go to Ollie's, they're $3.99. Well, guess what? The nearest Ollie's to me is about an hour and 45 minutes away. They just finally came to my state this year. Have to imagine a lot of these Big Lots, the Ollies are gonna climb into the corpse of these Big Lot stores. They're just gonna climb in like a young Spirit Halloween is what they're gonna do. Just like Spirit Halloween and Ollies did to Toys R Us once upon a time. So I am keeping these fingers crossed. My Big Lots turns into an Ollie's, and I can see all the magic. But the problem is, and I know, here we go. I know I'm ranting, Todd. I know. My Ollie's, I'll get an Ollie's, and it'll be like my Rosses. Everybody, I'm finding all these Simpsons figures at Ross. I'm finding Power Rangers Super 7s. I'm finding gold plates there for a penny each. People are finding all this stuff at Ross. My Rosses never have absolutely anything. I go, and recent toy hunts, I've been to a few of them, absolutely nothing. The hottest of hot garbage. I went in there and I bought a pair of shoes. I said, what is going on here? I got some green shoes. Oh, ready for the Christmas season. But my Rosses suck, and I have imagined if I get an Ollie's, it's going to suck too. So I just can't wait for that. Just wait for that complaining and saying, why did I go in this store? What am I doing? What am I doing here? But shout out to Ollie's, maybe at a corpse of a Big Lots near you very, very soon. Now, here's another thing that got me all worked up. It got my blood pressure up this week. Let's just keep it. Is it Festivus yet? Is it time to air the grievances? I feel like I'm airing the grievances, but you know what's going on here. But NECA Universal Monsters, a favorite toy line of mine, a favorite of my dad. Dad, where are you? Where are you? It's the Christmas season. Haven't even got invited to Christmas. I'm not sure if I'm welcome this year. We'll have to see. I'll have to iron that out with him. More at 11, I guess we'll say on that one there. But the NECA Universal Monsters, there's a new Universal Monsters land at Universal Studios. I'm not a theme park guy. I'm just not. No time for that. I'm a busy guy, let me tell you. But apparently down there in Florida, there's a Universal Monster Land. And of course, what do they have down there? They have NECA, Bela Lugosi, and Frankenstein exclusive NECA figures. New packaging, a little bit of a repaint going on. What are we doing? Am I going to have to take my dad and we're going to go on a Florida adventure? Actually, I would love that. Dad, I know you're watching this, Dad. Dad, let's book a trip. Just you and me. Father-son trip. We take Florida by storm. We hit the Universal Monster Land. We'll get our picture taken with all the monsters. Maybe we'll ride a coaster or two. We'll do our thing. Maybe a couple of toy hunts. Maybe we'll do a meet and greet down there in Florida. Dad, we could just make an adventure of it. We could make it a long weekend. We could have fun. We could do this. Maybe I'll ask Dad for that for Christmas. Dad, all I really want is to go to Florida with you. I think he'd be moved by that. Or I don't think he would. I think he'd say, well, that's nice. That's nice. I think I'm going to take the kids, I think, down there maybe. Or maybe is Lemmy the dog available? Don't get me started on Ace. He's in the doghouse today. He tried to escape again, so he's in trouble. Man, this video going off the Christmas rant is what this is. But long story, long way to get there. There's new NECA Universal Monsters, Universal Park exclusive. Get out of here with that. So I got to find a way to pick those ones up. I'm sure they'll be on eBay for $100 each. But hey, if you're in Universal Studios, I know a guy that'll pay you. So let me know. Let me know. But it is what it is. But now we're not done. We're moving over to Masters of the Universe, of course, a beautiful brand. Me and the Masters crew go way back to Christmases past. I'm a Masters guy, you know that. Well, they did. Somebody leaked it out there. There's a new cartoon collection on the horizon. Got to get the most out of your molds, but you got to make them transparent. It is a Skeletor cartoon collection. He's got the Orko shawl there, just like in the Filmation episode. Looks like that'll be coming in 2025 as well, so be ready for that one there. And speaking of Origins adjacent, I guess we'll call it, Turtles of Grayskull. Last week, I missed it in the toy news, talking about it this week. We did see product images of Mikey, Leo, Clamp Champ, and Ninjor, and I think Ninjor is the best of that bunch right there. Mikey and Leo, I just wish they wouldn't have released those. I don't need multiples of the Turtles in this line, but we do know this line is coming to an end sometime in 2025, and it's going to be the rise of the Masters of the Universe Thundercats wave is what we're going to see next year. So stay tuned for more on that. I'm excited about that one, so it should be pretty fun. Now we dive into a little bit of adjacency here. We're diving into the Mythic Legions and Mythic Mania running wild once again. As this week they did announce over there, of course, the Mythic Legions crew. The Dragon is finally going up for sale, and it looks like it's going to be delayed till March, which I think is smart because January, one of the slowest times at retail. A lot of people don't have money in January, February. They're trying to pay off their credit cards. They're trying to pay off their Christmas shenanigans. So that's a pretty rough time. And then, of course, we got the latest Mythic Legions wave arriving around that time. So put a little space between it, I think, is a smart move on that Mythic team. Looks like they're going to crowdfund this Dragon, which, say what you want about crowdfunders, not a big fan of those in this day and age, but I understand there is a method to the madness, and sometimes there is a reason, especially on such a big item like this. They don't want to take the chances, so I understand that a little bit, but it'll be interesting what the crowdfunding does do and what that all entails. I guess more soon on that. But they did let it leak a little bit that they said the Dragon will be priced about as much as a full wave of Mythic Legions. So you're anywhere from like, what, $500 to $700 for this Dragon. So it's going to be very expensive. Rumor is they're going to have multiple colors of this Dragon over the next few years. Makes sense. Got to get the most out of your molds, especially something like this. I'm going to get this Dragon because we've never had anything quite like it, but I don't see me buying multiple Dragons. I'll leave that up to good friend of the channel, Jeff George. Merry Christmas, Jeff George. You're going to be buying multiple Dragons. I'll live vicariously through you is what I'll have to do. But I'm anxious for this one. I'm anxious to find out the price, what the crowdfunding entails, and all of it goes with it. So I guess we'll stay tuned to that on the channel. But we're not done. Once again, we did see the Graveyard Skeletons right around the corner, and I definitely recommend jaystoysandgames.com. Sponsor of this video, a good sponsor of the channel, and local to me, doing a lot of good things. They do have those up for pre-order still, so check those out. A lot of places aren't selling them anymore. You can pre-order those skeletons at Jay's. And once they go in stock, you can save 15% if they make it that long. So shout out to them. Use discount code Kyle as usual. But the Graveyard Skeletons box looks pretty cool. Everybody likes skeletons. Of course, unless you don't. Mark Summers, I heard you're scared of skeletons. Why is that exactly? Oh, this is interesting. I wouldn't assume this is why, but Mark Summers from the couch, of course, yes, that Mark Summers, Double Dare Zone, told me that when you slime a skeleton, they keep on moving because it doesn't slow them down, and it goes in between all the bones and stuff, and you don't like that, it creeps you out. I get that a little bit, but Mark Summers, scared of skeletons. Who knew? But there it is, of course, on that. But we did see the Graveyard Skeletons, but we're not done with skeletons from Mythic Legions. ZoloCon exclusive skeleton coming. I unfortunately missed out on last year's one. That's one of the big misses this year for me on a figure I wanted. I wanted that Mythic Legion ZoloCon exclusive last year. Hopefully I can get this one this year. I like the looks of these. I think they look really cool. This one does not disappoint with that beautiful kind of flame head going on. Just a very, very fun one right there. So a lot of Mythic Legion news this week, but we're not done. We got NECA news this week, and it's those no good Ben Cooper kids. I just wanted them off my lawn, but they're back again. We did see those posters from NECA, and then we did get the solicitations for pre-orders going on right now. We do got the NECA Ben Cooper Kids DC segment there. So it's all these DC classic superhero costumes. This Ben Cooper collection is growing. It's growing. I'm going to have a whole shelf of just kids. It's going to be creepy. I'll start grabbing those Fresh Monkey Fiction kids, and people are going to say, what are you doing collecting all these kid figures, Kyle? I'll say, whoa, let me explain. Stop the clock a little bit here. But more Ben Cooper kids, and they're going to run that into the ground. There's no doubt about it. So more of those around the way, and I'm sure we're going to see more of those in 2025. So be ready, you Ben Cooper kids out there. And then, of course, we're going to finish the video off with good friend of the channel, Todd McFarlane on the couch. Todd, salt of the earth, any huge, big plans this year for Christmas? You got anything going on there? Mark Summers is coming for Christmas? Oh, my gosh, in Phoenix, right? And what are you going to do down there? Oh, you're going to make your famous chili. He's going to make his famous chili. You know, my dad's got a famous chili he makes on Christmas Eve usually. Fingers crossed I get invited. He also makes the oyster soup. Do you like the oyster soup? Only from Pickering, Canada. So shout out to Pickering, Canada. Apparently beautiful oysters up there. Who knew? But it'd be interesting to try your chili one of these days, Todd McFarlane. I would love to try it. I'm a big chili connoisseur guy. I just tried the Culver's chili the other day, which I'm not a big store or restaurant chili person, but I thought the Culver's chili did pretty good. I wish they could kick it up a notch with the heat, but it was pretty good. I'd like to compare it next to yours. Maybe we'll have Kyle's first ever chili cook-off with Todd McFarlane, Mark Summers, my dad, Culver's, maybe Wendy's would get involved. Dave Thomas, if he was still around, he'd be in on it. And we'll see who has the best chili. I'm sure one of you guys out there has some good chili as well. But it sounds great. Please send pictures. Maybe we'll FaceTime for the party there. But Todd, you weren't done. You were going out with a bang. And what? Oh, his year's not over. He said to expect more pre-orders on Christmas Day. Oh, that's the time to do it. That's for sure. But Todd this week, his team over there, and I've been saying this for a while, it's glad to see this come to fruition. They had a little bit of a live stream talking upcoming stuff, all kinds of statues. We saw all kinds of properties. We're going to focus in on the DC stuff that we talk about. I don't do the statue game. I don't do a lot of those movie ancillary properties, really. We don't talk about them here, but we will talk about some of the figures we saw. And we saw the talk of the playground finally here. I've been screaming for it for 2 years. You're finally making little Kyle's dreams come true. We're getting that guy with a haircut my grandma could set her watch to. We're getting Guy Gardner Green Lantern in the collector's edition. Love that we get different hair pieces for him, but you got to give him that ugly bowl cut. Man, that guy was the laughing stock. Can't wait to dive into that review on the channel. Hopefully early 2025. We also saw Power Girl, another one that looks really, really nice. And then Captain Cold, classic. You're giving me some of those superpowers, those super friends. I want more super friend characters, or at least those looks, and that's what Captain Cold's bringing here today. Very excited about that one. And a lot of people out there are very excited about a little Batman news, as we got Christian Bale Batman and Michael Keaton Batman coming out in single carded releases. I never got around to unboxing that box set this year, so it is what it is. Maybe one of these days we will, but I don't know if I need these. I don't know how different they're going to be from the box set. I'm guessing not terribly different. We'll see what ends up happening in the future there. But we got those around the corner. We also got an early rendition of Superman. I think that was it. Action Comic. It's not Action Comics 1. Oh, it's the cartoon. It's the old school cartoon Superman, I believe, is what that one is. So we have that one coming as well. So obviously Superman. We just saw the trailer this week. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll watch it eventually. But we do got Superman Mania next year, so I guess they're going to lean into that a little bit more. Batman, Superman, you know Todd from the couch. There's certain things that are for certain. You go to his house on Christmas Eve, you're going to get chili at Todd McFarlane's. Todd's going to wiggle his toes. He's going to talk about Spider-Man and Batman and Spawn, and he's going to release Batman and Superman figures. Those things are certain. Take them to the bank all day long. I would agree on that. But that was kind of the highlights of the live stream, I did think. So there it is. That is a busy, busy toy news. A lot going on in this video. A lot going on every single day. Have to imagine next week a little bit slower. But we're not done with this video. We got to dive into it. We got to dive into the album of the week. All right, we're going to finish up the holiday toy news video with the album of the week. And of course, I don't listen to a lot of Christmas music, but have to put it in this one every single year. And maybe it was this one last year. I can't even remember. But I'm going to my boys in Cheap Trick. We're going to the Christmas album that was released a few years ago. If you love Cheap Trick, you love Christmas, what more could you want with this one? But I did like that they did classic Christmas songs and some newer classic Christmas songs. So it is definitely an album to check out. It's actually the 19th Cheap Trick album of all time. Very prolific is Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, and the boys. And Bunny Carlos when he wants to. Maybe in Mary's Place, who knows? Deep ones know that. But very excited. That's the one time a year I listen to Christmas music. I usually listen to that one. I do dabble in a little Ringo Starr Christmas. And then, of course, there's that heavy metal Christmas album with Run Run Rudolph with Lemmy. That's my all-time favorite. But I'm not a huge Christmas guy. You know one I did forget, though, I should listen to. And Christmas isn't here yet, so I got time. Halford and his winter songs. Oh, if you like Rob Halford, you got to check out both of those. Album 1 is way better, but album 2's no slouch either. But officially this week, the album of the week is Christmas, Christmas by One Cheap Trick. And that is it for the toy news of the week. What did you think about the news this week? A lot of stuff that excited you. How are you about this Powertown business? Are you okay with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you, of course, over there on Patreon. Patreon, best way to support this channel. All kinds of stuff over there every single day. Appreciate the support over there. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. Of course, don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and on Instagram. My book, available now on Kindle. It is the complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstar series. And now, guess what? I'm on TikTok for all of my holiday dance moves. Check out the old TikTok channel. So for another week of the toy news, you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling into a holiday work week.
We're going to